If the fear of wasting time and energy in the gym is holding you back because you're uncertain of which training program will deliver the best gains, then this video is for you. The strength training landscape is more saturated than ever, with a plethora of training splits, programs and plans, along with countless opinions on which ones get the best results. Instead of overwhelming you with more options, this video will give you the tools to critically evaluate any program on the market and identify the best workout plan for reaching your goals. By the end of this video, you'll also possess the blueprint to construct your own customized strength training program as well. Now let's get into it. Now you've likely seen the terms full body workouts, body part training, push-pull, and other workout splits thrown around quite a bit when it comes to building muscle. To get familiar with these, let's take a quick look at some examples of the most common ones out there. First up is full body workouts. As the name implies, these workouts involve working muscle groups across the whole body using predominantly larger compound exercises like deadlifts, squats, presses and pulls. Next we have push-pull workouts. This is where workouts are split between exercises where you push the load and where you pull the load. For instance, squats, lunges and presses on one day, and then deadlifts, pull-ups and rows are on the other. Upper-lower splits are next on the list. This is where you break up the workouts into upper body and lower body specific exercises, and core is usually allocated to either one or between. For instance, exercises for quads, glutes, hamstrings and core are on one day, and exercises for chest, back, shoulders and arms are on the other. And finally we have body part split routines. This is where workouts are broken down even further into specific areas of the body such as legs, shoulders, back, core, arms, etc. Don't get too caught up in the details of each format that I've just shared, as I'll dive into these a little bit later on and help you determine which one is best. For now, we need to get an idea of how these different program formats can be allocated and spread across the week. As you can see on the screen, we have beginner workouts in green. You'll see that these heavily comprise of full body workouts that hit each muscle group at least twice per week. In row 1, there are 2 different full body workouts that are alternated between, and there are 3 workouts total per week, with each body part being trained every 2 to 3 days. In row 2, you'll see that there is a full body workout used in conjunction with a push and a pull workout each week. And in row 3, there is a similar format to row 2, except that 2 of the workouts have been broken down into upper and lower body instead of push and pull workouts. For beginner workouts, most of the exercises are predominantly compound movements, with 2 to 3 sets performed for each exercise at higher rep ranges of 12 or 15 reps or more. Moving on now to the intermediate workouts in red, you'll see that all the workouts comprise of either push-pull or upper-lower body formats. There are 4 workouts per week, with each body part being trained every 3 to 4 days. There is still a heavy emphasis on compound movements, with some more isolated exercises being introduced. At this level, there are 4 sets or more performed for most exercises at a moderate to high rep range of 8 to 12 or more. And finally, we have the advanced programs in blue. Here you'll see that the body part splits are the go-to workout format. There are now 5 to 6 workouts per week, with each body part being trained every 5 to 7 days. There are still compound movements for each exercise, but there are now a lot more isolation exercises being utilized. 5 sets or more performed for most exercises and at low to moderate rep ranges of 5 to 8 reps or more. This is particularly the case for bigger compound exercises. Now you're probably wondering why workouts involving lots of muscle groups such as full body programs are mainly assigned to beginners, why workouts that are very body part specific are allocated to advanced trainees, and why workouts assigned to intermediates lie somewhere in between. You're probably also curious to know why other variables such as workout frequency, intensity, and sets and reps are also different for different levels. To understand why this is so and pick the right type of workout program for your level, you first need to consider your training and recovery cycle. You see, the best training program is the one that you can recover from and make the best progress with. How often you should train a muscle group depends on how quickly it recovers, and how quickly a muscle group recovers depends on how much stress was applied to it. When you have just recovered from your previous session and supercompensation has occurred, it is the perfect time to then train the muscle group again before the training effect is lost. See my No Pain No Gain Part 2 video for more on these recovery and progressive overload principles. It's important to recognize that the recovery window is different for each person and that it largely depends on an individual's unique recovery ability and their level of advancement. If you're a beginner, by definition you cannot lift heavily enough or intensely enough to stress your muscles as much as more advanced trainees who require a body part split. As a beginner, your recovery cycle is shorter and you can train each area of your body more frequently. This is why if you're a beginner, you should be doing predominantly full body workouts, which consist mostly of compound lifts, instead of isolation exercises. Compound exercises will build up your strength faster and give you a bigger stimulus for growth, but will also produce faster skill and technique development. Put it another way, as a beginner, you're not going to bicep curl or cable crossover your way to appreciable gains anytime soon. If you're more advanced and you're naturally applying more loading and intensity to your workouts, your body will require more time to recover. Therefore, more advanced programs are usually broken down into a split routine where each area of the body is worked at a higher threshold and given more time to recover. So now you're probably wondering how you determine your level of advancement and what is the best type of program to follow. Well, I gave you some loading and intensity classifications earlier to help you determine if you're a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced trainee. Now, these structures are not set in stone, and there are other ways you can determine your level of advancement and the best program format to go with. Mine are simply based on my coaching experience of training complete beginners through to advanced athletes for over a decade. Of course, there are other variations on these program types, but the main thing is you understand the principles that underpin any program and you're respecting the training and recovery cycle. And what are the main principles to understand when considering any strength training program? Well, there are a few key variables you need to know. These include frequency, which is how often you train, volume, which is the total number of reps you do or sets times reps, and intensity, which is the degree of loading or effort applied. These variables are all inversely related. What does this mean? Well, you can't do the same high volume workout with consistently high amounts of intensity, nor can you do a high volume workout frequently and recover from it. To make this easier, let me give you an analogy from the running world. You can't run all out in a 100-meter race 10 times in a session and expect to have the same fastest time by the 10th try. Nor can you win a marathon race every day of the week if you tried. Your recovery ability simply doesn't allow it. You need to respect rest days and recovery, as this is when you actually grow. If you're a beginner, you might get away with 6 full body workouts per week, or you may only get away with 3. It depends on how much intensity and volume you're using and your recovery ability. Just realize though, in regards to volume and frequency, there will be a limit on how much you can amplify these over time. Your recovery capacity will eventually max out, and in order to become more advanced, you'll need to apply more loading and manipulate intensity over time. Differing recovery abilities and levels of advancement are important factors to consider when implementing a training program. However, what you also need to consider is that we all have different schedules and varying availability of time. If your weekly availability is different to that of the workout routines I previously provided, then consider the following guidelines I use to create these routines in order to structure your own. If you're a beginner, focus on full body workouts where the same muscle mass is stimulated 2 to 3 times per week. If you're an intermediate, focus on push-pull or lower upper split programs that stimulate the same muscle mass 2 times per week at higher intensities. And if you're advanced, focus on body part split training where the same muscle mass is stimulated 2 to 3 times per fortnight at increasingly higher intensities. If you're time poor or don't train as often, just be aware that you'll need to settle for slower progress. This is because the more time that you can dedicate to your training, the more proficiently you'll build muscle and the quicker you'll advance yourself. This might seem obvious, but it's surprising how many people get this wrong, or simply get impatient when they have a lower level of dedication. Even if you're more advanced, but you become time poor, you might have to scale things back and stick to full body workouts to maintain your results. By now you can appreciate that there are many types of training splits that can be used at various stages of progress and under different circumstances. Not all types of training programs will work for all people all the time. And there is no one absolute best training program that suits every person at every stage. Anyone who tells you so is either lying or doesn't know what they're talking about. At my company, Performance Revolution, we use different program formats depending on the individual level and the situation of each person that we're working with. Everyone has their own unique goals, recovery ability, weak points, and level of development, and also lifestyle scenarios surrounding their training. I created this video to help you figure out which type of program will get you the best results for your individual situation, rather than just trying to promote one type of program over another. Remember too, that no training program will work forever due to your body's ability to adapt. Learn to read the signs early and recognize drops in your strength, work capacity, and your overall results. These are your main cues to change things up. Also, make sure you regularly track your results or have a coach that does this for you. This way you can quickly determine if you're on the right track with the right kind of program. If your diet is supportive and you're developing muscle and strength at a good rate, then it's likely that you're on the right program. If you're struggling, stagnating, or even backtracking, you'll need to make some changes. If you'd like to see some examples of what properly structured and effective programs might look like based on your level, then check out my free programs in the description to this video. That's all for now. Please like and share this video if you found it helpful, and remember to subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. Thanks, and see you soon.